Welcome back to the deep dive. We're diving into the world of biogas, getting into what it takes to be a biogas technician. You've sent us a ton of material on this, so we're going to break it all down. Career paths, what you need to know to succeed, even how to nail that job interview.
It's interesting, people think biogas is this new thing, but it's actually been around forever. Just shows how much potential there is in this renewable energy source.
Okay, so for anyone who's not totally familiar with this, what does a biogas technician even do?
Well, you'd be the one making sure those biogas plants are humming along, taking organic waste and turning it into usable energy. It's a very hands-on job. You're right there on the front lines of sustainability.
So definitely not stuck behind a desk all day. One thing we saw mentioned working with digested materials. No way around it. You got to have a strong stomach for this.
You can say that again, not for the squeamish, that's for sure. And safety is absolutely key. You're dealing with some potentially dangerous stuff, so paying attention to detail, sticking to those safety rules, super important.
I think that's what's so interesting about this, right? It's practical. You're working with your hands, but it's also got this direct impact on the environment.
Okay, so let's switch gears a bit. The pros and cons of this career path. The guide you sent mentioned that renewable energy is in higher and higher demand, which is huge.
Absolutely, yeah. The whole world is trying to be more sustainable, so people skilled in things like biogas, they're only going to be more in demand.
It's like you're part of the solution to these big energy problems we're all facing. But like any job, got to be some downsides, right?
For sure. The guy did say that depending on where you are, there might not be a ton of jobs, and it can be pretty physically demanding.
Things to think about, for sure. But let's say you're up for the challenge, you're ready to jump into biogas. What skills do you absolutely need to make it?
You've got to have a good foundation in mechanics. These plants are complex, lots of moving parts, so understanding how they work, figuring out problems, that's huge. Like a doctor, but for biogas plants.
Huh. I like that. But it's not just about fixing things. You need a solid grasp of chemistry, too. You're dealing with chemical processes every day. Got to know how that stuff works.
So more than just a wrench turner, you need to know the science behind it all.
Exactly. Take anaerobic digestion, for instance. That's how organic matter breaks down. Without oxygen, it's at the core of making biogas. To really do this well, you have to get the ins and outs of that whole process, the stages, what kind of microbes are involved. That's how you get the most biogas and fix problems when they come up.
That's where the deep dive comes in, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've got the mechanics, we've got the chemistry. What else do you need in your toolbox?
Well, this field's always changing. One article you sent mentioned AI, how it's being used more and more in these plants. You got to stay up to date. It's not just a bonus, it's essential.
It's like, what you know today might not be enough tomorrow. You got to be ready to learn new things, keep up with how biogas is changing.
Exactly. Like some plants are using AI to watch the digestion process live in real time, so they're way more efficient. Imagine trying to fix a system like that. You'd need to know the biology and the tech controlling it.
It's like the industry itself is always digesting new info, right? Speaking of digesting, let's map out what a career path in biogas actually looks like. We've got those career stage descriptions you gave us. Those could be helpful.
Yeah, definitely. So you might start out as a biogas assistant, getting some experience on the ground, learning from the more experienced technicians. It's like an apprenticeship. You're right there in the plant every day.
You're not just watching someone else work, you're elbow deep in it, learning how it all works from the inside out.
Exactly. And as you get better, your skills develop, you could move up, become a junior biogas technician, more responsibility then. Maybe you're in charge of certain processes or maintaining certain equipment.
And then from there, senior biogas technician,
Mhm.
right? What's that like? What all does that involve?
So a senior biogas technician, they're not just an expert on the technical side. Often they're overseeing whole projects or even whole teams, making sure the plant is running right, that it's as efficient as possible, maybe even training new people.
That's where those core skills, the mechanics, the chemistry, that's where it all comes together with being a leader, being able to communicate with your team. It's like you're not just seeing one part of the plant anymore, you're seeing the whole thing.
Exactly. And this idea of moving up, it ties into something else interesting in those RoleCatcher articles about AI and how you can use it to figure out your career path.
AI, huh? So like robot recruiters or what?
Not robots exactly, but kind of similar. These AI tools, they can look at job descriptions, see what specific skills employers want, and then help you make your resume, your cover letter, really make those skills stand out, gives you an edge.
So instead of just sending out the same resume to everyone, you're using AI to target each application. Smart.
That's the idea. And some of them, they even have AI-powered interview practice, so you can rehearse answering questions, get feedback on how you're doing.
Like having a personal coach, but it's AI, available 24/7.
Yeah.
That could be a game changer if you get nervous about interviews.
Totally. And about interviews, you know that guide you sent? It had that list of interview questions. One that I thought was really interesting was, what inspired you to become a biogas technician?
It's a good one, right?
Yeah.
They don't just want to know if you could do the job. They want to know why. They're looking for passion, that you really care about this stuff, about sustainable energy.
Yeah, and that passion, it comes through in how you answer other questions too. Like, how do you make sure that biogas production is environmentally sustainable? That's where your knowledge of the process, your dedication to the environment, it all comes together.
It's like connecting the dots between what you're doing with your hands and this bigger idea of sustainability. You're not just managing machines, you're part of building a greener future.
Exactly. And if you can show that connection, that you get it, that's going to impress any employer.
So you nail the interview, you show them how passionate you are, you get the job. Now what? What are some of the real-world challenges they're going to face on the job?
Well, remember those digested materials we talked about? Dealing with that stuff safely, effectively, that's a big one. One of the resources talked about how important it is to handle everything right, using the right equipment so it's safe for you and everyone else.
Good reminder that this isn't all clean and easy. There are risks.
Definitely. And another challenge, what happens when equipment breaks down? These plants are complicated, things are going to go wrong. You need to figure out what's wrong, find the broken part, fix it, all while staying safe.
Sounds like you need to be a good problem solver just as much as you need to know the technical stuff.
You got it. Staying calm when things get tough, thinking clearly under pressure, those are really important skills in this job.
It's more than just knowing the science. It's knowing how to actually keep this complicated thing running. You need that knowledge, and you need to know how to solve problems. That's what makes a biogas technician so valuable.
Yeah, totally. And here's something else. This whole field, there's so much potential for new ideas, new ways of doing things. We've talked about AI, but what about biogas itself? What's the future hold there?
That's what's exciting, right? We're just getting started with this technology.
Imagine biogas, it's not just about making energy, it's part of a whole different way of thinking about the economy. One article you sent, it talked about using what's left over after you make biogas, the digestate, using that as fertilizer.
So it's not even waste anymore. It's a resource.
Yeah.
Now that's closing the loop on sustainability.
Exactly. And who knows what else is coming? Maybe we'll find new ways to use biogas, new ways to make it even more efficient. Even whole new industries could pop up around this stuff.
Makes you think, doesn't it? So for our listener, who's now basically a biogas expert, what's the big takeaway here?
I think it comes down to this. Being a biogas technician, it's not just a job, it's a chance to be part of something bigger, to use your skills, your passion for the environment to make a real difference.
It's like we take something that people think is a problem, waste, and you're turning it into a solution. And this field, it's not slowing down, it's only getting bigger, more important.
Maybe your listener, maybe they'll be the one to come up with the next big thing in biogas.
Yeah, there's something to think about. And that's a wrap on our deep dive into becoming a biogas technician. Hope you learned some stuff, maybe even feel inspired.
Until next time, stay curious, everyone, and keep those career goals green.